Well, first up on the bulletin, let's tell you the developments overnight, where the Middle East witnessed high drama as Iran launched missiles at a US base in Qatar. This was followed by Donald Trump announcing a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Iran then fired up to 19 ballistic missiles at the US military base in Qatar. However, this was Iran's retaliation, remember, for the US strike. In fact, they called it 6 for 6 on its nuclear facilities. However, almost all the missiles were intercepted by the US and the Qatari defense systems. There were no casualties which were reported, and also it is being said that US had already evacuated the entire military base in Qatar. So what is raising eyebrows here is that Iran had apparently given advance notice to the strike to Qatar. Qatar, of course, is the brother state of Iran. Of course, immediately after this strike had happened, Qatar came out, condemned the attack as a violation of its sovereignty. However, it did, interestingly, acknowledge that the warning helped minimize the risk. Within hours of the attack, President Trump reacted. He called Iran's strike, to quote, a very weak response, and even announced that Israel and Iran had agreed to a complete and total ceasefire. Well, President Trump has declared that the 12-day war that had threatened to destabilize the entire region is now ending. Well, Trump announces a total ceasefire, but right after that, there is also, interestingly, where he had put out saying, congratulations to everyone, it's been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and have completed their in-progress final missions. Quote, he put this in brackets. Also, he said, for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended officially. Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, it's an official end to the 12-day war. It will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, he writes, on the other side, there will remain peaceful and respectful towards the other. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both the countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage and intelligence to end what should have been the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. Trump goes on to say, God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Well, this was the latest post which came in from President Trump. Well, with that, there's more breaking news which is coming in. Well, hours after Donald Trump claimed a complete and total ceasefire between Israel and Iran, tensions have flared once again. A ballistic missile fired from Iran has struck Israel's Beersheba region, killing 3 civilians. In fact, Times Now's Priyank Tripathi is there in Beersheba. He's tracking the developments very closely as well, getting us minute-by-minute updates. Let me go across to him. I believe Priyank is joining us live. Priyank, I really hope you are safe. Give us a sense of what's happening on the ground right after the truce, right after the ceasefire. We still have more shelling as well as ballistic missiles being fired at Beersheba. Well, of course, understandably, Priyank has some network issues. It is in the midst of a war zone. Remember, this is the area, Beersheba, where Iran has struck once again. This is one of Israel's neighborhood, and this is a civilian area. And this apparently has led to the death of 3 civilians. That's the preliminary information we are trying to get across to Priyank and get more details from him. Remember, he's right there in Beersheba. We hope that he's safe, and he was there when the missiles were rained by Iran, despite the fact that there was announcement of a ceasefire. Let me go across to Rishabh, who's joining us with more details. Rishabh, you must decode what exactly it is that President Trump has announced. He says that there is going to be a ceasefire, but the entire process will take 24 hours. We are, of course, in India's time zone. You must break it down for us. When do we expect the missions to end for Israel, for the mission of Iran to end, and finally, when will this 12-day war end?
Well, learning from what happened between India and Pakistan, Donald Trump right now has decided to go on a phased manner of ceasefire. First, the ceasefire will be announced. Then, in next 2 hours, Israel will cease all its hostilities. Iran will not respond or retaliate to any of the hostilities of Israel in coming hours, and then 12 hours or so the ceasefire will be implemented. Now the ceasefire has been put into effect and Donald Trump said do not violate it. Both the sides should restrain from any hostilities from now on is what we are given to understand. If we talk about what's happening right now, Israel has agreed to it. Iranian Foreign Minister has also agreed to it with certain conditions right now. See, both Iran and Israel, the conflict hasn't begun yesterday or 12 days ago. It is a century, almost a half a century long conflict between the two sides since the Islamic Revolution has taken place in Iran. Iran has been swearing to destroy Israel. Israel sees Iran as one of the biggest enemies in the region. In last 12 days, we have seen exchange of ballistic missiles from both the sides, airstrikes from both the sides. Qatar also came into impact because of the US base last night. Airspaces throughout the Middle East or the West Asia was suspended for some time. Now things are limping back to normal, and now Israel and Iran both have agreed with conditions to ceasefire. Israel says that we agree to ceasefire. We thank Donald Trump for clearing the nuclear threat of Iran. But we will retaliate forcefully if things don't go as planned. Iran, on the similar lines, have said that we are okay with the ceasefire, but if we are attacked, we will respond very forcefully. So both the sides have agreed to it, but with conditions implied. So it remains to be seen how things unfold in next 3 to 4 hours. Meghna, we have been talking since morning, like in next 3 to 4 hours, we'll see whether this quote-unquote 12-day war, as Donald Trump calls it, has come to an end, or was it momentary pause and things might go haywire again?
So we are hoping that things will not go haywire again. We have seen the last time when President Trump decided to announce that there's a ceasefire between two nations, what really happened, where we are hoping that at least here we are going to have some semblance of a ceasefire, forever truce, as Trump calls it. But with that, there is more